Spirit invited me to talk about the ego today, specifically about the wounded ego and how you cannot heal emotionally until you heal your wounded ego. This was a massive portion of my own personal healing journey, and I want to talk about how you can go about healing that wounded ego so that you stop becoming reactive, so that you stop getting triggered by external circumstances or people. The peace or the clarity that Spirit was giving me in meditation last night about the ego and how the ego functions is that the ego is very deeply connected to love. So our ego starts to develop when we are young children, and it's basically like a measuring stick or a measuring tool of love, of the amount of love that you are receiving, that your soul is experiencing through interacting with other people. Now, of course, when we are really young, we need significantly more attention. We need significantly more care and nurturing in order for the ego to develop in a harmonious, beautiful way. And when that is not received, or when that is often not validated or mirrored back to a child, when a child isn't feeling seen or heard or loved to the capacity that they desire to be loved, which they cannot express at that time yet, because up to the age of 7, children they just don't have the vocabulary, right? Their brains haven't developed to that degree yet to be able to really tell a parent or a caregiver how they want to be loved. They just know that they want to be loved. They know specifically what they require or what they need, how they want to be nurtured, how they want to be cuddled or praised or just made to feel seen. And even throughout the teenage years and even throughout like our 20s and our 30s, there are multiple times where our ego is wounded, where it experiences a lack of love from either a situation or a person that will cause that ego to contract, and it will start to measure the available love that is present in the external world. And the more wounded somebody becomes, the less loving they feel the world is, the less trusting they are towards other people, the more easily they are triggered or traumatized by things, because there's just such a lack of safety, such a lack of security within them, within that ego, because the ego then becomes so fragile that it's just constantly looking for evidence of that lack of safety. It's constantly looking for how it is going to be betrayed, how it's going to be screwed over, or how it's just not going to receive love from their external environment or from other people. The connection here between love and ego, what I see and what I've experienced in my own healing journey, is that every single time that you felt unloved when you were growing up, whether that was in early childhood, later in your childhood, in your teenage years or 20s, every single time, and it actually doesn't even matter, it's like even beyond 20s, even to present moment, like it doesn't matter how old you are, every single time that you feel unloved, unseen, unheard, disrespected, which really all of those just are terms that we use to describe a void or a lack of love. Every single time that the ego experiences that, it begins to break down, it begins to contract, and it begins to, what I see it as like just firming up, like it starts to create this hard shell around it, and it starts to use that hard shell as a means of protection. So it shrinks itself more and more and more when it is experiencing a void of love, and that shrinking begins to harden. It's like there's this coating or there's this hardened shell that starts to surround the ego. And ultimately, the process of healing, and what I noticed for myself, is the process of healing was me breaking down, cracking open, softening that shell that was around my ego. That was what I had to do in order for me to heal, in order for me to be able to release hurts, resentments, all the different heavy feelings and emotions I was feeling towards the people that have hurt me in my past. And so if you haven't taken the time out yet, if you haven't done this work yet, and this is a very deeply internal work, of course, very individualistic work. But if you haven't done that inner work to crack the shell that is around your ego, that this false protective mechanism that you have built up within yourself, you're not going to be able to get out of that dysregulated nervous system. You're not going to be able to get out of that wounded self, out of cycles of getting triggered. Like, you're just not going to be able to move past that because that shell hasn't been cracked. It hasn't been, the layers of it haven't been peeled back. And that's exactly what it was for me. Like, I had to peel back layer by layer by layer. And that's why this is a process that can take years. You know, healing is something that takes years, and it happens in incremental little sections or layers that we go through, that we gradually unfurl or reveal the ego's true nature. And ultimately what it comes down to is you have to love yourself. It's like you have to use the exact thing, the exact formula that you were deprived of, that created the shell around your ego in the first place, that made your ego as fragile and as contracted as it did in the first place. So the remedy ultimately to healing a wounded or fractured ego is love, is absolute unconditional love. And when you are not able to receive that love from other people, as a matter of fact, it's not even that you're not able to receive it. I mean, in all honesty, I feel like it's our own individual responsibility to fully give ourselves the love, the acceptance, the acknowledgement, the praise, the whatever, fill in the blank. Like, it is our job to fill that emotional cup up within ourselves, because first of all, expecting anyone outside of you to do it is kind of unfair to the other person, because they're not you, right? They don't know your inner workings, and they don't know all the multifaceted layers within you that need multifaceted care and nurturing. Like, other people don't know that, and they're also not responsible for that. So a big takeaway in my own healing journey, and the way that I actually healed myself, was understanding that I needed to fill my own cup back up. I needed to give myself everything that I felt deprived of my whole life, everything that I felt I didn't receive from other people that I was expecting to receive. And this is a very extensive healing journey, because you're not only healing that inner child, you're not only healing the ego, you're not only healing those fragmented parts of yourself and like reassembling them and gluing them back together. And what is the glue? Love. Love is the glue that glues everything back together. You're not only doing that, but you're also acknowledging the incredible power that you have within yourself to do this. So if you're someone that is still getting triggered, if you're somebody that still experiences like a deep inner rattling, like your emotions really get rattled every single time something doesn't work out in your favor, or every single time you feel betrayed or you perceive something outside of you as a betrayal, your higher self is telling you that you are still unhealed, that your ego still hasn't received the adequate amount of love back to fill it back up so that this shell around it can crack open and release. So at the end of the day, no one outside of you can heal you. You are going to heal yourself. And even as a healer, I tell this to my clients, like, I facilitate your healing. I hold space for your healing through listening, through allowing you to just fully express and fully be seen and fully be heard. That is a part of, so again, it's love, right? Ultimately, holding space means to just be so open-hearted and to be so loving within your own frequency that it gives an opportunity for another to move into that energy. It's like they start to match your energy and they move into that energy of healing themselves. But ultimately, it is you. You are the one who is healing yourself. Healers just hold the space, the frequency of love. And as a healer who needed to heal herself, I had to learn to hold that frequency of love for myself, because I was very, very good, especially as an empath, I was very, very good at being compassionate and holding that love frequency for other people. But the universe isolated me for a many number of years and kind of put me in hermit mode, put me in sort of a spiritual timeout in order for me to learn to hold that space for myself, to learn to heal myself, give back to myself, pour into my own cup so much that it allowed my ego to peel back and to shed that hard shell that was around it, that hard shell that was constantly in protection mode, constantly in survival, constantly in fear. And under this full moon energy, I really feel like this is a call. And the reason why Spirit has me talking about this right now, because it's a call. It's like inviting you to recognize that you are responsible for your own healing. This is the process I moved through. I had to accept all aspects of myself, and I had to recognize that those dark hidden corners within my psyche and within myself, within my vessel, the things that I shoved down, the things that I was avoiding, the things that I didn't want to face for many, many years. Pain, betrayal was a huge one in my life, especially from the masculine. That those, fractured parts or broken parts of myself were wanting nothing more than just to be loved, to be seen, to be fully recognized and acknowledged. So taking time out this week, and actually for the rest of this year, I really want to recommend for anybody that is coming across this video, no matter when you come across this video, take the time out to notice how your ego is fractured. What fractured it? In a nutshell, we can sum it up that what fractured your ego in the first place, what caused you to feel wounded, traumatized in the first place, was a severe lack of love. Just nothing else. It doesn't matter what that looks like, what form it takes, how that showed up through, what experience that showed up as. None of that matters. Ultimately, it all boils down, and the root of every single one of those situations is there was no love. You don't betray someone if you are in a loving energy. You don't screw somebody over when you're in a loving energy. You don't lie or cheat when you are in a loving energy. You don't take advantage of people. You don't talk behind their back when you're in a loving energy. And the darkness, the devil, whatever you want to call it, like it thrives. It thrives on there not being love, there not being light. So I feel like it's every single soul's individual responsibility to take ownership for how you have also not been loving towards yourself, how you are perhaps still continuing to be unkind to yourself in terms of how you talk to yourself and how you view yourself and perceive yourself. So tune in to the areas of your life that need more love. Tune into the areas of your psyche, of your body that need more love. And you're going to know because you are the one living your life. You are the one living your experience. You are the one that is in your head, in your heart on a daily basis. So you know exactly how you are not loving yourself, how you are still allowing yourself to function ultimately from that wounded ego, how that shell around the ego is still controlling your emotions. It is still controlling your mind. It is still controlling your perception. How it keeps these filters on your eyes where you don't get to see the truth of the matter. I find myself not getting triggered anymore, not to the degree that I used to, like especially when it comes to other people, situations, even like really complicated situations. I just don't get triggered anymore because I've learned to pour into myself, and I've learned that the more that I continue to focus on cultivating the love within myself, the less anybody can rock my emotional boat. I have learned to fill that void that I felt for so long within myself that I was expecting and hoping and wanting other people to fill. Like I've learned to fill that for myself, and I've just learned to fill up those holes and fill up those gaps within me, within my heart, within my consciousness. And now that I've done that, it really is this incredibly beautiful place that you arrive within yourself. There's this incredibly fulfilling energy that starts to move through your mind and through your heart, because you're not feeling any lack anymore. You're not feeling any voids anymore. There's nothing that you require from the outside to fill anything within you, because you have filled yourself so much that you're truly overrunning with joy. You're overrunning with love. You're overrunning with happiness and fulfillment. And it actually really regulates the nervous system. This work and moving through this work has so incredibly and profoundly regulated my nervous system. It completely pulled me out of fight and flight. It pulled me out of survival. It pulled me out of fear. And now, even last night, doing like I was having a really deep conversation with God, and I was just literally crying, guys, like a baby. I was just crying and just saying thank you to God for taking me on this journey, for showing me how powerful I actually am, and for being by my side every step of the way. And that's actually the other important piece that I want to insert here, is that you cannot do this work without God. Like, you can't. It's just very egotistical to assume or to think that you are doing this work alone. Absolutely not. Because what is God? God is love, right? And it's this ultimate trust exercise that we have to move through when you think that everything is going to fall apart, or when everything is falling apart in your life. You have to so deeply, so fully trust God, and not let that hard shell around the ego, around your heart, dictate how you're going to feel about things, and just move into that surrender. It's like you step away from that more and more and more. And by choosing on purpose to step away from that fear, you're going to notice that it just begins to dissolve. It begins to peel back layer by layer by layer, that shell. And eventually it will get to this place where it becomes like super soft and super squishy. It's like that hardening is gone, because your heart and your soul feel so filled up that you truly are at peace with yourself. You are at peace with your life, and you are in full trust and full acknowledgement that there is this higher power that is guiding you through this journey to find that love for yourself again. And the gratitude, the appreciation for that, it just becomes like next level, like truly next level. So in closing, I just want to say that taking the time to do the inner work, taking the time to learn how to pour back into yourself, to learn to give to yourself to such a degree where you no longer have voids or gaps or holes within your energy field, because you filled all of them in with your own love and with your own compassion and understanding and kindness for yourself. And because you've allowed God to actually pour in and fill all those little holes and gaps with love, when you arrive at that point, then everything in your life changes, because energetically, you're no longer leaking energy. You're no longer exhausting yourself. You're no longer wasting and pouring out energy into things like into the trigger, into getting angry, or into holding resentments. I mean, people don't even realize how much they exhaust themselves when they're holding on to these energies, and how much it actually drains their life force. So I hope you take some time to recognize where you might still be feeling those gaps. I hope you're able to see what about a certain situation triggered you. And I hope that you recognize that ultimately what triggered you was that there was a lack of love. And actually that lack of love from your external environment is nothing more than a mere showing you where you are still not filling those voids, where you are still not tending to those wounds. And I do find that difficult external situations oftentimes will come actually for people even that are healed. It's like a form of sort of seeing where you're at. You know, I always see them now as opportunities. This is an opportunity for me to recognize where I am. It's like something external to me that maybe challenging or something that I dislike is nothing more than an opportunity for me to see where I am on my healing journey. Like, it just shows me like, okay, this is how I responded to this. Wow. Like, I would have been so triggered, you know, maybe even a year ago, 3 months ago, whenever, like, and this time I'm not. And this time, like, I didn't feel anything when this person came back around, or I didn't feel anything when, you know, this situation came back around. So don't view like external challenges or external triggers as something that is to blame. Because if you're blaming, then that means that you're still somewhere within you. You are still in a victim energy, meaning that you still haven't filled that victim void. Because we always feel like victims when we are not in our power, and we are not in our power when we don't fully love ourselves, when we don't recognize how incredibly awesome we are. So it's like the lack of confidence, feeling like a victim, feeling traumatized by things. All of these things all come down to you not having full clarity about how powerful you are and who you truly are as a soul. Like you're still a little bit disconnected from your higher self, that full expression of divinity and light that is within you. So that's what I wanted to talk about right now, because Spirit definitely wanted me to talk about the ego and the wounded ego and how we perpetuate our wounding by not giving ourselves the love that we are expecting from other people. How can we expect other people to love us if we haven't even learned to love ourselves? So I hope this made sense. If you are looking for some clarity or for a deeper understanding about your woundings or about deeply personal things that you are struggling with right now, then check out the description box. There's a link there to work with me. Otherwise, I am sending you so much love, and I will see you in the next video.